The problem is from GATE 2018 paper mathematics paper. Question number 1. The problem given is the principal value of the complex number minus 1 whole to the power of minus 2y divided by pi is. The four options given are option A e square, option B e to the power of 2y, option C e to the power of minus 2y, option D e to the power of minus 2. So the NPTEL reference to solve this problem is Module 1, Lecture 1 of Complex Analysis. The title of this lecture is Introduction to Complex Numbers by Professor P.A.S. Sri Krishna. He is from Department of Mathematics, IIT Guwahati. Even you can watch this lecture using this YouTube link. It is just whenever by just knowing the simple definition of complex numbers and the polar representation of the complex numbers, we can solve this problem. So now coming to the solution. Given complex number is minus 1 whole to the power of minus 2i divided by pi. So by just looking at this complex number, one can get afraid, since it is difficult to look at this expression. But it is very simple to calculate this principal value of this complex number. It is not principal value, it is the principal argument of this complex number. So whenever we have a z, for z in C, we can write z equal to r times e to the power of I theta. For minus pi less than theta less than or equal to pi, or in some cases this theta can be written as r 0 less than theta is less than or equal to 2 pi. Both are correct, and of course the meaning is also same. That means whenever we have the complex plane as this, and when we take a complex number z here, so the argument is nothing but the angle made by the line when we connect the point z with the origin around with x-axis is nothing but this theta. So this is the argument. So now by using this, the principal value of this complex number will be calculated in the following way. Simply, so minus 1 can be written as e to the power of I pi, which is nothing but cos pi plus I sin pi, or even one can write minus 1 as e to the power of 3i pi. Even in this case also, it is cos 3 pi plus I sin 3 pi. But when we, in the same way, we can write minus 1 as e to the power of 2n plus 1 times I pi for any integer, for any natural number n, or n union singleton set 0. But when we coming to the problem, it is asked the principal value of this complex number. So in that case, by looking at this definition, the definition of the principal value, we can see this angle theta should lie in between minus pi and pi. That is the definition of the principal part. So since it asks principal value, so we use since we have to look for principal value of this complex number minus 1 whole to the power of minus 2 pi divided by pi. So we write minus 1 as e to the power of I pi only, not instead of e to the power of 3i pi, 3, 5i pi, and etc. So when we write like this, then we have the whole complex number minus 1 whole to the power of minus 2i divided by pi, that is equal to e to the power of I pi whole to the power of minus 2i divided by pi. So now we can easily calculate the value of this expression as e to the power of pi and pi will get cancelled, this pi and this pi, and then we get e to the power of minus 2 times I square, and that is nothing but e square. So in total we have minus 1 whole to the power of minus 2i divided by pi as e square. This is the principal value of this complex number. And instead of writing here e to the power of 3i pi, sorry, instead of writing e to the power of I pi, one can write e to the power of 3 pi I also. In that case, we get the value of this expression as e to the power of 3 times 2, that is e to the power of 6. And similarly, when we write here instead of I pi, when we write an odd multiple of I pi, even in that case also we get here e to the power of e square times, sorry, e to the power of 2 times that odd multiple. But since it is asked to calculate the principal value of this complex number, that means this argument of this complex number should lie in between minus pi and pi. So we have to consider the power as I pi only, not any other multiple of any odd integer. So hence the answer is e square.